Hi everyone, I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a soccer bag. It's made up of several parts, the bottom, the body and the straps. First, make the bottom, then work upwards from the bottom to crochet the body. Finally, pick up the corresponding areas on the body to crochet the straps. Let's start with the bottom. Made from the bottom fabric piece. Sew the fabric pieces together. Button section. There are two bottom fabric pieces, made in exactly the same way. First, make the bottom fabric piece, then pick up the corresponding areas to sew. Leave an opening during this process. Then make the button section at the opening position. First, let's explain the bottom fabric piece. Each piece consists of 3 motifs, connected with motifs and edged. Here, the motifs are made from the inside out. I'll call the central motif Motif 1. The adjacent outer ring of motifs is Motif 2. The outermost ring of motifs is Motif 3. First, crochet the corresponding number of motifs. Once completed, arrange them according to the chart, and join them in a ring. Finally, crochet the edging around the outer edge. Let's start with Motif 1. Use the adjustable magic ring technique, crocheting outwards in rounds counterclockwise. The stitches used include chain, double crochet, single crochet and slip stitch. Watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. For easier viewing, I'm using chunky yarn for this demonstration. Random colors. For specific yarn, color scheme and hook size, refer to the detail page of our product and paper instructions. First, let's cast on. Wrap the yarn tail around your left little finger. Pass it through between the middle finger and index finger. Then pinch the yarn tail with your left thumb and middle finger. Hold the crochet hook in your right hand with a pencil grip. Place it underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. With your left thumb and middle finger, pinch the crossing point of the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Gently tighten. Now begin crocheting chain stitches. Yarn over and draw through. 1 chain stitch is completed. This V-shaped loop represents 1 stitch. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Yarn over and draw through. This is the second stitch. Repeat this process to crochet 2 more chain stitches. 1 stitch. 2 stitches. Adding the previous 2 stitches. A total of 4 chain stitches have been crocheted. The loop on the hook does not count as 1 stitch. When counting stitches, start from the V-shaped loop on the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 'Turn the chain loops upward. Then form the chain into a circle. Note that the chain should not be twisted. Insert the hook into the first chain loop. At this point, the outer half loop, which is this single strand, work 1 slip stitch. Yarn over, draw the yarn through, and draw through in once. Complete the slip stitch. This slip stitch doesn't count as 1 stitch. Pull tight. This starting chain is complete. Begin the first round. Make 3 beginning chains. 1, 2, 3. These are the turning chains for the double crochet. These 3 chains count as 1 double crochet. Next, pick up the center of the circle formed by the starting chain. Work 1 double crochet, yarn over once. Insert the hook into the center of the starting chain. You can place the starting tail of the yarn above the hook. Crochet the edging while weaving in the tail. Yarn over, pull the yarn through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remain. Yarn over and draw through the remaining loops in once. 1 double crochet is completed. The V-shaped loop at the upper right is the stitch. Crochet 2 chain stitches downward. Next, pick up the center of the starting chain to work double crochets. Yarn over. Insert the hook. Weave in tails. Then yarn over and pull through. Next, yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. Complete the double crochet. Continue to pick up the center of the starting chain to work 1 double crochet. As you crochet, weave in the starting yarn tail. I won't remind you about this repeatedly later. After completing, chain 2. Then work 2 double crochets. Chain 2, repeat this method twice. All double crochets should be inserted into the center of the starting chain. Once. If you can't crochet when needed, you can shift the completed part. Twice. Continue crocheting 2 double crochets downward. Then chain 1. Finally hook into the 3rd chain from the beginning chain. Count upward from the bottom. Find the position of the 3rd chain. Hook into the V-shaped loop of this chain. The outer 2 strands. Insert the hook and work 1 single crochet. Yarn over and pull through. Now there are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the single crochet. This single crochet replaces 1 chain stitch, while completing the connection at the beginning and end. This completes the first round. The side with neat stitch texture in this round. As the right side of the motif. You can place a stitch marker at any position on this side. If there's remaining, starting tail of the yarn on the wrong side, you can cut it off. Crochet the second round downward. Continue from the previous yarn tail, chain 3 as beginning chains. These 3 chains count as 1 double crochet, then hook into the bottom. The chain space below the single crochet. Work 1 double crochet. Hook into the top of the adjacent beginning chain, which is the insertion point of the previous single crochet. The small hole above here. Work 1 double crochet. Hook into the left side of the double crochet stitch below, which is the braid on the upper right of the stitch technique. The braid here is slightly puckered. Hook into the top 2 strands here. Work 1 double crochet. Down to the chain position. Hook into the chain space below. Work 2 double crochets. Two chains. Work 2 double crochets in the same chain space. I consider this crocheted stitch as one corner. Hook into the left side of the double crochet stitch below. Crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. The adjacent stitch might be covered. You can pull it to check while crocheting. Consider these 2 stitches as one side. When encountering a chain position adjacent, hook into the chain space to make one corner, that is 2 double crochets. Two chains. 2 double crochets. Completed the corner. Then work the edge. Pick up stitches, and crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. Completed the edge. Continue crocheting following the method for sides and corners. Refer to the previous part for details, or refer to the chart. After completing the last edge, work down to the starting position, insert hook into the chain space. Crochet 2 double crochets. Then crochet 1 chain. Next pick up the top chain from the turning chains. Insert hook into the 2 edge strands. Crochet 1 single crochet. Here the single crochet replaces 1 chain stitch, also completed the joining, including the starting turning chain and 1 double crochet. The ending also forms a corner here. The second round is complete. Continue to crochet the third round. Make 3 beginning chains as the turning chain. counts as 1 double crochet, then insert hook into the chain space below and crochet 1 double crochet. After that, work to the left. Adjacent is the turning chain position. Pick up the top, the insertion point for the previous single crochet. Make 1 double crochet. Pick up the stitches behind. Work double crochets correspondingly. When encountering the position of 2 chain stitches, pick up the chain space, crochet into the corner of the previous round, which is 2 double crochets. Two chain stitches, 2 double crochets. Continue picking up stitches, work double crochets correspondingly. The double crochets I'm working into the stitches count as one side for this round. When encountering chain spaces later, crochet a corner correspondingly. Continue crocheting following the method for sides and corners. You can also refer to the previous part, or refer to the chart. Finish the last side, down to the starting point. Pick up the space and work 2 double crochets. Then work 2 chain stitches. Finally, pick up the 3rd chain stitch position of the turning chains. Insert hook into 2 strands. Work 1 slip stitch to join. Yarn over and draw through. Pull through all loops on the hook in once. Complete the slip stitch. Now you can refer to the chart to check the dimensions. If the dimensions are significantly different, adjust your tension or switch to a different hook size and recrochet. Once the size fits properly, break the yarn. Pull tight the last slip stitch. Then work 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Weave the yarn tail into the wrong side of the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches. This completes 1 motif 1. Each piece only has 1 motif 1. You can crochet all the motifs needed for both bag bottom pieces. Then set them aside for later use. Simply crochet another motif 1 using the same method. Complete this part on your own. Next, let's explain motif 2. Start with the chain ring method. First, crochet in rounds. Then pick up the corresponding area to work 1 row. The motif here is not symmetrical. The new stitch techniques used include half double crochet increase, 3 double crochets into the same stitch. Please watch my demonstration. First, cast on and crochet the first round. The casting on method here is identical to motif 1. The stitch pattern for the first round is similar to motif 1's first round, only the stitch count is different. Refer to the chart for details. Complete crocheting the first round. Similarly, the side with neat stitch texture of the first round is the right side. Please pay attention to mark it. If you can easily distinguish the right side from the wrong side, you may skip marking. Just trim the yarn tail left from casting on. After completion, crochet the second round. Continue from the yarn of the previous round. First, make 2 chain stitches as turning chain. This is the beginning chain for half double crochet. Count as 1 half double crochet. Insert into the space below. Work 1 half double crochet. Yarn over the hook. Insert. Draw through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops. Complete the half double crochet. Similarly, the braid on the upper right is its stitch. Next, hook into the top of the beginning chain. Work 1 half double crochet, yarn over, insert, draw through. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Complete the half double crochet. Continue to pick up stitches and work 1 half double crochet in the adjacent stitch. Now at the position of 2 chains. Pick up the space below and work 2 half double crochets. Two chains. Work 1 double crochet in the same chain space. Pick up stitches on the left side, crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. After completing, pick up the left chain space. Work 1 double crochet. Two chains. Continue to work 1 double crochet in the same position. Pick up stitches on the left side afterward, crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. After completing, pick up the chain space and work 1 double crochet. Two chains. Work 2 half double crochets in the same position. Pick up stitches afterward and crochet 2 half double crochets correspondingly. Pick up the left chain space and work 2 half double crochets. Two chains. 1 double crochet. Pick up adjacent stitches and crochet 2 double crochets correspondingly. Work 1 double crochet in the chain space. Two chains. 1 double crochet. Work double crochets correspondingly on the left stitches. Reach the starting position. Pick up the space and work 1 double crochet. 1 chain. Next, pick up the second chain of the beginning chain. Insert hook into the 2 strands near the edge. Work 1 single crochet. The second round is complete. Next, crochet the third round. Chain 2 as beginning chain. This also counts as 1/2 double crochet. Then pick up the space below. Work 1/2 double crochet. Then move left. Pick up the top of the beginning chain, the insertion point of the previous single crochet. Work 1 single crochet. Then continue picking up stitches to the left. Work single crochets correspondingly. When you reach the chain position, pick up the chain space and work 2 half double crochets. 2 chains. 1 double crochet. When you encounter stitches going backward, pick up the stitches. When you encounter chains, pick up the chain spaces. Work the corresponding stitch techniques. You must refer to the chart here. Don't make mistakes, to avoid affecting the shape of the fabric piece. Hook to the starting position. Pick up the chain space and work 1 double crochet. Then work 2 chains. Finally pick up the top of the beginning chain, which is the second chain position. Pick up 2 strands on the edge. Join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. This completes the third round. Going down, work only one side for a row. I continue with the previous numbering, called the 4th row. Here pick up the starting side of the previous round to crochet. Enlarge the loop on the crochet hook. Remove the crochet hook. Then, pick up the right side of the beginning chain, the braid of the adjacent chain. Insert into the top strand. Place the loop that was left onto the hook. Slightly tighten. Pull through. Adjust slightly. Note that the fabric should remain flat. Chain 3 as beginning chains. Counts as 1 double crochet. Work double crochet 2 in 1 in the same position. That is, make 2 double crochets. One stitch. Two stitches. Complete the double crochet increase. Next, encounter the beginning chain on the left. Pick up the strand above it. The strand near the edge. Here, find behind the left stitch. Insert the hook into this strand. Work 1 double crochet. Half of the adjacent stitch. The 2 strands of this stitch. The front one is the front loop. The back one is the back loop. Pick up the back loop of the stitch below. Work 1 double crochet. Continue picking up the back loop of the stitches. Work double crochets correspondingly. Keep crocheting until before the chain position. Reach the corresponding position. Here, pick up the top strand of the chain. Work DC 3 in 1, meaning making 3 double crochets in one position. One DC, 2 DC, 3 DC. Completed DC 3 in 1. Now row 4 is completed. Similarly, refer to the chart to check the dimensions. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Hide the yarn tail to the wrong side of the fabric. Complete it by yourself. This way, motif 2 is crocheted. Complete the remaining motif 2 as needed. Now let's explain motif 3. Start with a magic ring. Then crochet back and forth along the foundation chain. New stitch technique used, treble crochet. Please watch my demonstration. The casting on method is the same as previous motifs. Complete it by yourself. I've already cast on here. Start crocheting row 1. Chain 3 as beginning chains. Counts as 1 double crochet, then pick up the center and crochet 1 double crochet. Mindful to weave in the yarn tail. Then crochet 2 chains as interval. Continue with 2 double crochets, 2 chains method twice. After completing, continue with 2 double crochets. This completes row 1. Crochet row 2 next. Chain 4 as beginning chains. Counts as 1 treble crochet, corresponding to the edge position. Turn the work. Pick up the second stitch to the left. When crocheting on the wrong side of the previous row, the stitch is located at the upper left. From the right side perspective, it's still upper right. Pick up the corresponding stitch and crochet 1 treble crochet, yarn over twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. There are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 3 loops remaining. Continue yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 2 loops remaining. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the treble crochet. Chain 2. Insert into the left chain space. Work a treble crochet. Wrap the yarn twice around the hook. Insert the hook. Yarn over and draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat 3 times. 1 time. 2 times. 3 times. Complete the treble crochet. Continue to work 1 treble crochet into the chain space. Pick up stitches to the left. Work 1 treble crochet. Work 1 double crochet into the adjacent stitch. Left chain space. Work 2 double crochets. Two chains. 2 double crochets. Work 1 double crochet into the back stitches. Work 1 treble crochet into the adjacent stitch. Work 2 treble crochets into the left chain space. Two chains. Pick up the left stitch and work 1 treble crochet adjacent to the beginning chain of the previous row. Pick up the top chain, which is also the chain space next to the current stitch. Pick up the 2 edge strands. Work 1 treble crochet. Row 2 is complete. Fit well to check the dimensions. Cut the yarn to finish. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. The side with neat stitch pattern texture. Here is the right side of motif 3. This completes 1 motif 3. Complete the remaining motif 3 pieces as needed. All crochet instructions for the 3 motifs are now done. Next is joining the motifs. Position the motifs correctly according to the pattern chart. Remember, all motifs should have the right side facing out. Use the whip stitch method. Join the motifs in corresponding positions. For easier explanation, I'll connect them from the inside out. You can connect them according to your preference, as long as the final effect matches the finished product. Next, I'll demonstrate the joining process. Here, I'm demonstrating with a small swatch. Motif 1 is at the center. First, I'll connect motif 1 with the outer ring motif 2. Pick up motif 1 and 1 motif 2. Place the last row of motif 2 facing upwards. Match the symmetrical side of motif 2 with any side of motif 1. Start from the inner stitch of the 2 chains at the corner. Continue joining up to the inner stitch of the 2 chains at the other end. Then continue upwards to connect one side of 2 motif 2s. First, take the area that needs to be joined. A thread length of 3 times. You can leave it a bit longer. Thread the needle. Start connecting downwards. Pick up motif 1 and 1 motif 2. Place them wrong sides together, with the side to be joined facing upwards. Then secure the thread on the wrong side of motif 1. Here near the side that needs to be joined. Simply weave in the starting yarn tail into the fabric. Bring the thread down to the corresponding chain position. Then from underneath the V-shaped loop of the corresponding chain, draw the thread through. Then insert into motif 2 behind the corresponding chain. Similarly insert into the V-shaped loop. Then move left. Here encountering the beginning chain, insert into the hole above where the slip stitch was previously made. From behind pick up the stitch in the adjacent stitch to the left. Sew together. Then pick up the front stitch to the left. Insert into the corresponding stitch behind and sew together. Continue from front to back. Pick up stitches from both motifs and sew together. This front to back insertion method is called whip stitch. Continue sewing downward. Reach the chain space. Similarly insert into the V-shaped loop. Sew together. At this point, one side of motif 1 and motif 2 is completed. Continue downward to connect with the other side of motif 2. Turn the last row of motif 2 outward. This side is all half double crochets. Correspond to one side of motif 1. Connect the corresponding side downward. Start from the chain stitch at the corner. Similarly insert into the inner side 1 stitch. Pick up the V-shaped loop. Sew together. Then pick up stitches to continue sewing. Match and sew the chain space with the V-shaped loop. After completing, thread the yarn to the wrong side. Pick up the edge on the wrong side, while tying a knot and weaving in ends. You can weave in a few more stitches for security. So one side of motif 1 is connected to motif 2. One side between motif 2s is also joined. Continue connecting motif 1 and motif 2, following these steps. Let me demonstrate again. First, take the yarn. Then on the wrong side of motif 1, secure the yarn tail near the connection position. Start sewing downward. To prevent gaps between pieces, first sew through the holes once. Then start from the chain space on the inner side. Match and sew together. After sewing the inner chain spaces, pick up one motif 2 downward. Continue connecting one side edge following the previous placement. Similarly, connect to the inner chain space of 2 chains. Thread the yarn to the wrong side. Then tie a knot and weave in the ends on the wrong side. Complete this part on your own. From now on, follow this method. Continue connecting motif 1 with all motif 2 pieces. Pay attention to the last side of motif 2. It connects with the starting side of motif 2, finally forming this shape. After completion, connect motif 3 with motif 2. Here you need to thread the yarn underneath the last row of motif 2. Then along. Sew around the outer ring of motif 2 and motif 3. First, fit well the sewing area. Take 3 times the length of yarn. Leave a bit longer as well. Thread the needle. Start sewing downward. First, secure the yarn tail on the wrong side of motif 2. Need to thread first here. We're on the right side of the last row of motif 2. Secure the yarn tail underneath this position. Then thread the yarn through the beginning chain, where the slip stitch was inserted before. Come out through the 3 stitches on the edge. Insert into the gap between the 2 left stitches. Downward through the adjacent stitch below. Come out through the left stitch. Insert into the gap of the left 1 stitch where previously inserted. Continue backward through the adjacent stitch. Insert into the gap on the left. During the sewing process, you can also place the yarn tail on top, so while wrapping it in, continue backward by picking up stitches and coming out. Then insert into the gap. Continue threading in this way. Pick up the chain stitch, which means draw through from the bottom of the remaining horizontal bar below the insertion point. Continue inserting into gaps. Pick up adjacent chain stitches and insert the hook once. Continue inserting into gaps above. Move down and come out through the adjacent gap on the left side. Then at the braid on the left, thread the yarn behind. Pick up motif 3 downward. Sew the side seams using whip stitch. First bring the yarn to motif 2 at this point. Top of the first stitch on the edge. Draw the yarn through the stitch. Sew into the stitch of motif 3 once. Then pick the side of the first stitch on motif 2's edge. Sew into the corresponding stitch on motif 3's left side. Next, pick the insertion position of the first stitch below the edge. Sew into the braid of the left chain. Pick the corresponding braid on the left downward for sewing. Continue with the previous method afterward. Pick stitches and chains correspondingly for sewing. When reaching the previous connection point of motif 2, to avoid creating holes here, insert the hook between two holes and draw the yarn through once. Then continue picking braids correspondingly for sewing. Continue sewing downward. When encountering previously crocheted stitch patterns on chains, pick one strand and the front strand for insertion. Similarly, pick up the braid of chains for sewing. Pick up the beginning chain on the edge. Insert the hook into a secure position for sewing. After completion, tie a knot and weave in ends on the wrong side. When the remaining yarn tail is short here, use the crochet hook to tie a knot and weave in the ends. Securing with a chain stitch here is equivalent to tying a knot. This completes the sewing of motif 3. Continue sewing motif 3, using the same method. Complete this part on your own. After completion, you'll achieve this final look. Sew the other bag bottom piece using the same method. Complete this part on your own. Now we've finished explaining how to connect the motifs. Next, let's add the edging. Crochet around the edges of motif 2 and motif 3. Crochet a total of 2 rounds. Watch my demonstration. I'll continue using this swatch for demonstration. On the top row of any motif 2, hook into the left side of the double crochet stitch of the beginning chain. Insert the hook into the stitch. Hold the yarn tail. Make a slip knot with the yarn. Place it on the hook and pull through. Adjust slightly. This joining is done. Then make one chain as the beginning chain. This is the turning chain for single crochet. It doesn't count as one stitch. Make a single crochet in the same position. Place the yarn tail above the hook. Crochet while weaving in the tail. Then pick up stitches one by one. Work single crochets correspondingly. Pay attention to crochet this stitch at the edge connection point 2. After completing, move down to the side of motif 3. Pick up the stitch at the left edge position. Work 4 single crochets. Pick up the corresponding row side edge adjacent. Work 3 single crochets. Move down to the starting point. Pick up the center and work 1 single crochet. Then move left to pick up a row side edge. Work 3 single crochets. Adjacent row side edge, work 4 single crochets. When you reach motif 2 going backward, always start from the left stitch of the beginning chain. Pick up stitches and work single crochets correspondingly. When you reach motif 3 position, pick up a row side edge and work 3 single crochets. Adjacent row side edge, work 3 single crochets. At the starting point, work 1 single crochet. Left row side edge, work 3 single crochets. Adjacent row side edge, work 4 single crochets. For all positions of motif 3, going backward, work in this way. At motif 2 positions, pick up corresponding stitches and work single crochets. Refer to previous sections or the chart. Continue working on motif 2 and motif 3. Work the corresponding number of single crochets. Finish the remaining part. Complete the last single crochet. Now check the stitch count. Count the single crochet stitches here. 1 stitch equals 1 single crochet. Finally locate the first single crochet stitch. On the left side, there's one braid-like texture vertically. This is the beginning chain braid. Skip. The adjacent horizontal braid is the first single crochet stitch. Insert into the stitch. Fasten them with a slip stitch. Pull tight after completing. The first round is complete. Move on to round 2. For this round, insert the hook into the front loop of the stitches. That is the front strand of the stitch. Make 1 beginning chain to start. This is also the turning chain for single crochet. Doesn't count as 1 stitch? Then pick up the front loop of the last single crochet. The stitches here might be a bit small. Pay attention not to pick the wrong position. Correspondingly make 1 single crochet. Then continue picking up the front loops to the left. Work single crochets into each stitch. Complete the last stitch. Join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. The second round is complete. Cut the yarn. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side of the fabric. Complete it yourself. This completes the edging. Follow the same method. Crochet the edging on the other bag bottom piece. Now a complete bag bottom piece is finished. Next, sew the pieces together. Use the whip stitch technique. Place both pieces with the right sides up. Then overlap them together. Pay attention that the motifs on both pieces should correspond. Then place one motif 3 on top. Leave one motif 2 empty on each side. At the edge of the adjacent motif 3, work 1 stitch. Secure with a stitch marker. The area below the stitch marker here needs to be sewn. Leave the upper area unsewn. Sew downward. First take yarn 3 times the length of the sewing area. You can leave it a bit longer, and thread the needle. I've prepared it already. Start sewing downward from the marked position. Pick up 2 stitches from both fabric pieces, and insert the hook into both at the same time. Leave a little yarn tail. Sew the edge position one more time for extra security. The marked stitch marker can be removed. Continue to pick up 2 stitches from both fabric pieces, and sew them together correspondingly. As you sew, keep the yarn above and wrap it into the stitches. Reach the marked position. Insert the hook and sew twice. Remove the stitch marker. Leave the remaining part unsewn. Thread the yarn tail into the fabric. Then tie a knot while weaving in the ends. Complete this part on your own. This completes the sewing of the fabric pieces. Now proceed to make the button section. It consists of buttonholes and pre-made buttons. At the opening position of the fabric, make buttonholes on the edge of the back fabric piece. Sew buttons on the corresponding position of the front. First make the buttonholes. Here I'll use this swatch for demonstration. Find the back fabric piece. Locate 2 stitches that are relatively centered. Insert the hook into the stitch on the right side. Join yarn and work. Then crochet 8 chain stitches. Next, pick up the adjacent stitch to the left and work a slip stitch. Gently pull to tighten. Cut the yarn. Hide both ends on the wrong side of the fabric. This makes the buttonhole. Next, sew on the buttons. Press the buttonhole to the top. Then at the corresponding position of the buttonhole, sew 1 button on both the front and back pieces. Using the yarn from the buttonhole, take a yarn tail. Thread the needle. Make sure the needle can pass through the button. Place 1 button horizontally at the corresponding position on the front. Here I'll demonstrate with a different style of button. From back to front. Draw the yarn through. Leave a little yarn tail. Then insert into the chain space on the left side. Place one button horizontally at the corresponding position on the back. Insert the hook into one of the holes. Pick up the chain spaces and sew downward. There's no specific method required, as long as it's secure. After completing, draw the yarn to the side of the starting yarn tail. Tie a knot to secure the two yarn tails. Hide the remaining yarn tails inside the fabric. Complete this part on your own. This is how the button is sewn on. At this point, the button section is completed. Up to this point, the entire bag bottom is finished. Next, make the bag body. Crochet around the outer edge of the bag bottom. You'll need to change colors during this process. Watch my demonstration. First, work the first round. I'll continue using this small sample for demonstration, with the right side of the bag bottom facing you. Then find the edge of the back piece. You can see these small horizontal bars underneath here. These are the back loops left from previous stitches. Insert your hook into any back loop below. And pick up the raised horizontal bar underneath. Pick up a total of 2 such bars. Join the yarn. Chain 4 to start this round. These 4 chains count as 1 treble crochet, then work 3 chains between them. Skip 2 stitches, meaning skip 2 horizontal bars. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch position, corresponding horizontal bar, and the raised horizontal bar behind. Insert the hook and work 1 treble crochet. Work 3 chains after completing. Continue to skip 2 stitches. Pick up the back loop on the left side, and the raised horizontal bar. Insert the hook and work a treble crochet. Three chains. Continue to skip 2 stitches. Pick up the corresponding 2 horizontal bars. Work a treble crochet. Three chains. For the rest of this round, pick up the back loops only. and the raised horizontal bar behind, which means inserting into 2 horizontal bars. I won't explain in detail later. Continue to skip 2 stitches. Work 1 treble crochet. Three chains. Continue to skip 2 stitches. Work a treble crochet. Three chains, then pick up the same insertion point. Work 1 treble crochet. This is equivalent to an increase. Alternate between 3 chains and 1 treble crochet going forward. Skip 2 stitches below after completing each chain. Repeat this process until reaching the 4th treble crochet position. Reach the corresponding position. Continue downward with 3 chains. Need to increase later. Skip 2 stitches. Work 1 treble crochet. Three chains. Work 1 treble crochet in the same position. Complete the increase. Consider from the left side of the previous increase to this increase position. As one crochet pattern group, complete the last crochet pattern group. Continue downward following the pattern method. The final treble crochet goes in the position corresponding to the beginning chain, which is the yarn join area. After completion, work 3 chains. Add the turning chain at this point. Another increase is formed here. Check your work as you go down. This round has a total of 10 increase points. There are 4 treble crochets between increases. There are 3 chain spaces between each treble crochet. Once the stitch count is correct, pick up the top of the beginning chain going down, which is the 4th chain position. Insert hook through 2 strands. Join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. Continue to crochet round 2, chain 4 to start this round, which counts as 1 treble crochet, then work 3 chains in between. Pick up the stitch of the treble crochet to the left, crochet a treble crochet. Three chains in between. Then pick up the stitch of the treble crochet respectively, crochet a treble crochet correspondingly, 3 chains in between. Continue crocheting until before the increase position of the previous round. At the corresponding position, continue picking up stitches downward to crochet treble crochets. 3 chains. Then pick up the left stitch to increase, crochet 1 treble crochet per position. 3 chains. 1 treble crochet. Complete the increase. Then continue crocheting with the method of 3 chains, 1 treble crochet. All treble crochets are worked into the stitch of the treble crochet from the previous round. Continue until reaching the increase before the left side treble crochet position. At the corresponding position, proceed with the increase downward. After completing, from the left side of the previous increase to this increase position, consider this as the crocheting pattern for this round. Continue crocheting following this pattern afterward. All increases here are worked on the first stitch to the left of the previous round's increase. Continue crocheting downward. Note that the ending of this round is not a complete pattern, just continue crocheting following the pattern method. Finally, at the bottom of the beginning chain, the position of the starting chain from the previous round, pick up where the slip stitch was inserted before. Work 1 treble crochet. Chain 3. Then hook into the top of the beginning chain. Hook into both strands of the 4th chain for a slip stitch. Pull tight. Similarly, add the beginning chain. Increases were also made here. This completes round 2. The next round requires a color change. This color will be used again after skipping 2 rounds. To minimize cutting yarn, we'll secure the yarn tail here. Stretch the loop. Pull the yarn ball through the fabric. Tighten gently. Now the yarn tail is secured. Crochet round 3 downward. Starting from this round, no more increases are needed. Pick up the corresponding color at the top of the beginning chain from the previous round, where the slip stitch was inserted before. Insert the hook to join the yarn. Chain 4 to start this round. While crocheting, carry along the ending yarn from the previous round. For convenience of explanation, I'll refer to the previous yarn as color 1, and this round's yarn as color 2. Place color 1 over your hook. Then work chain stitches. This is carrying the yarn. Continue crocheting. Now the 4 chain stitches are completed, and the yarn is carried to the top. These 4 chain stitches count as 1 treble crochet. The starting chain of 4 chains for the following rounds all count as 1 treble crochet. I won't repeat this explanation later. Then work 3 chains in between. Note that color 1 stays in place. No need to carry the yarn. Then pick up the stitch of the treble crochet to the left. Work treble crochet. Then work 3 chains. Pick up the stitch of the treble crochet from the previous round. Correspondingly make treble crochet, with 3 chains in between. Repeat this process to finish the round. Complete the last 3 chains. Hook into the top of the beginning chain to slip stitch. The top of the starting chain always refers to the 4th chain position. And insert the hook into both strands of the chain. Here we carried the yarn previously. Pick up only the 2 strands near the edge. Pull tight. The 3rd round is complete. Continue to crochet the 4th round. Pick up the previous yarn tail. Chain 4 to start this round. Pay attention to carry color 1 while crocheting. Place color 1 back in position after completing. Pick up the treble crochet stitch from the previous round. Insert the hook and work treble crochet. 3 chains in between. Complete the last 3 chains. Join with a slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain. Pull tight. The 4th round is complete. Switch to color 2 for the next round. Prepare color 2, using the previous method here. Crochet the 5th round next. Insert the hook into the top of the beginning chain from the previous round. Pull the yarn through with color 1. Chain 4 to start this round. Carry color 2 along while crocheting using the same method. Continue crocheting using the same method as the previous round. Join with a slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain at the end. Pull tight. The 5th round is complete. Move on to the 6th round. Still use color 1 for crocheting. Carry color 2 along while making the beginning chain. Complete this round on your own. Secure the yarn tails after completing. For the remaining rounds, work even without increasing or decreasing. Change colors every 2 rounds here, and secure the yarn being changed. When making the beginning chain for the next round, carry another yarn tail along. Follow the previous demonstration. Refer to the chart. Complete the remaining rounds. Secure the ending yarn tails after finishing the strap for some colorways here. Use the color from the last round for crocheting. For some colorways, the strap needs to be crocheted in a different color. If the color from the last round will be used again, leave it. Cut the yarn normally if not needed. Cut the other color with a long yarn tail left. Tails can be woven directly into the fabric, or weave in while crocheting the strap. That completes the explanation for the bag body. Next, we'll explain the strap. Crochet in rounds along the bag body. Divide it into 2 sections. First, crochet section 1 along the outer ring of the bag body. Then crochet section 2 along the corresponding area of section 1. New stitch technique used, single crochet decrease. Watch my demonstration. Let's start with section 1. I'll demonstrate using this small sample. This sample swatch has fewer rounds. I'm using a single color version for this demonstration. Continue crocheting from the yarn tail of the last round of the bag body. If it's a colorway with color changes, simply join the yarn at the beginning chain of the last round of the bag body. First, make a chain 4 as beginning chain. Then follow the chart and crochet up to the position before the longer chain section. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet down the corresponding number of chains. I have fewer stitches here. After completing the required number of stitches, tidy up the fabric. Smooth out the chains. Keep the fabric from twisting. Then leave the corresponding position empty below. Pick up the corresponding treble crochet stitch. Work treble crochet. Remember to check after finishing. Don't twist the chains. Continue crocheting down according to the chart. Keep crocheting all the way down to the position before the longer chain section. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet down the corresponding number of chains. Finish it the same way. Tidy up the fabric. Then leave some space empty below. After that, when you reach the starting position, hook into the top of the beginning chain, and slip stitch, pull tight. This completes the first round of the first section. Crochet round 2. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Pick up the chain spaces to the left and work 2 single crochets. Then pick up the treble crochet stitch. Work 1 single crochet. Work 2 single crochets into the left chain space. Pick up the stitch in the treble crochet position, and work 1 single crochet. When you encounter a hole later, work 2 single crochets correspondingly. Work 1 single crochet correspondingly in the treble crochet position. Repeat this process. Keep crocheting until, before the multiple chain stitch position, 1 treble crochet position remains. When you reach the corresponding position, pick up the stitch of the treble crochet and the chain space. Work a single crochet decrease. First pick up the left side treble crochet stitch. Work an incomplete single crochet. Insert. Yarn over and pull through. 2 loops remain on the hook. This is the incomplete single crochet. Next pick up the left chain space. Here pick the adjacent chain stitch braid. Insert the hook into the outermost strand. Work an incomplete single crochet. Pay attention to this part while crocheting. Keep the chain flat. After inserting the hook, yarn over and pull through. This is the incomplete single crochet. 3 loops remain on the hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the single crochet decrease. Pick up the chain stitches. Insert the hook into the outermost strand. Work single crochets evenly. Continue until 1 chain position remains. Make sure the chains don't twist during this process. Smooth them out as you crochet. At the corresponding position, pick up the chain and the left stitch. Work a single crochet decrease. First work incomplete single crochets separately. Yarn over and draw through all loops in once. Complete the single crochet decrease. When encountering a 3 chain space later, work 2 single crochets correspondingly. Work 1 single crochet at the treble crochet position. Repeat this process. Continue until the position before the last treble crochet stitch. At the corresponding position, pick up the stitch and the left chain. Work the single crochet decrease. Continue to pick up chains, and work single crochets correspondingly. Keep working until one chain position remains. At the corresponding position, pick up one strand of the last chain, and the position where the slip stitch was inserted before the beginning chain. Work the single crochet decrease. Finally, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch. No need to tighten here, downward for neatness. Fasten off. Enlarge the loop on the crochet hook. Leave a little yarn tail, cut the yarn. Then count 2 stitches to the left. Exit from the back of the corresponding stitch. Draw the reserved yarn through. Then insert from the back into the center of the slip stitch braid. Draw the yarn through. Adjust slightly. This way the edges all have braid-like texture, it looks neater. Finally, secure the yarn on the wrong side. Pick up any strand on the wrong side. Chain 1 to secure. Gently pull to tighten. Hide the remaining yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. Complete this part by yourself. This completes round 2. And part 1 is done. Continue crocheting part 2 downward. Crochet in rounds below the multiple chain stitches. There are 2 part 2 sections, both crocheted the same way. I'll demonstrate the method using one as an example. Find the skipped stitch position. At the treble crochet on the far left, insert hook into the stitch to join yarn. Then make 1 chain as beginning chain, correspondingly make 1 single crochet. Then pick up chain spaces to the left and work 2 single crochets. Pick up adjacent chain space and the edge stitch above. Work a single crochet decrease, then continue to pick up the same position. Work 2 single crochets. Then pick up the same position, and the remaining half of the left chain. The insertion point of the previous side stitch pattern. Work a single crochet decrease. Here the remaining half of the chain. Insert hook into these 2 strands. Continue crocheting. Remaining, continue to pick up 2 strands of the chain. Work single crochets evenly. Continue until there is 1 chain space left. At the corresponding position, pick up the remaining half of the chain below and the 1 stitch position on the left edge. Work a single crochet decrease. Then continue to pick up 1 stitch position on the edge and work 2 single crochets. Then pick up the same position and the left chain space. Work a single crochet decrease. Remaining, pick up each chain space and work 2 single crochets. Work 1 single crochet in the treble crochet position. Follow this method to complete the remaining. Complete the last single crochet in the chain space. Pick up the starting single crochet stitch below and slip stitch. Similarly, no need to pull tight. Then fasten off. Then secure the yarn tail on the wrong side before tucking it in. Complete it yourself. This completes the crocheting method for part 2. Follow the same method, complete the other part 2 as well. At this point, the strap crocheting is finished. When storing, turn the bag bottom outside out. Then tuck the top fabric into the bag bottom. Place the strap outside or tuck it inside as needed. Then fasten the buttons. Complete storage. Up to this point, the entire eco bag making is completed. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.